What do you believe in? Hey, Jason here. If you're new to the channel, I'm an expat slash nomad, and I've been doing this for the last 10 years. And one of the things I started doing was sharing with you what I learned along this 10-year journey. I'm now on my fourth country, third continent, here in Lusaka, Zambia, the southern region of Africa. I do have permanent residency here, so one of the things I'm doing is sharing with you, like I said, what I learned, but also like the opportunities that I'm seeing here on the ground as a permanent resident of Zambia. And so, in case you're an expat or if you think about becoming one, why you may want to start considering this as an option, especially since this isn't a place a lot of people come to and not a lot of people are talking about. Now, let's go ahead and get into the subject matter. In the beginning, I asked the question, what do you believe in? And I'm asking you this question because it was asked to me. What do I believe in? I was on one of the TikTok lives of Copus Vice or the Viking, one of the great professional development business mentors in South Africa. And when he asked that question, I've really been thinking about it for a few days now. What do I believe in? And one of the things that I believe in is, and this is going to actually tie into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is I believe I can be the best version of me and I shouldn't be afraid to express it. But it's not only that I believe that for me, I believe that for everyone. And it's funny because if you've been watching the channel lately, I've been talking about this one YouTube character, Jay Rello. He's in Kenya. He calls himself a passport bro. I don't know if he's considered that or not. But if you see any of his videos, you can see what he's really about. It's not much hitting there. He's not a good master manipulator, nothing like that. And when I saw the video and what the interaction that happened between him and the young lady, I was annoyed. But then this morning when I woke up and I started seeing what people were saying on panels talking about it, how can guys turn their back on him? We need to be sticking together. You know, he can't be going to jail. All of this nonsense. And I'm like, guys, what do you believe in? What type of world do you want to live in? I don't want to live in a world where I have to worry about any daughters, nieces, sisters, cousins, anybody, any woman has to worry about possibly being physically assaulted. I don't want to live in that world. I don't believe that is a world that should exist. Nothing's going to change my mind about that. Also, I don't want to live in a world where people are not punished for doing wrong things. It's like when people try to sympathize when something bad happens to a thief. That person is a thief. Anyone who is willing to come into your property, whether it's at night, daytime, or just because they know you're not there or they know your routine, that person is capable of doing anything in this world. And that's the same way I feel about a guy who puts his hands on a woman. If you're willing to physically assault a woman, there's nothing in this world that I can't put past you for doing. And I was really, really looking, and then I was like, I'm getting angry. I was getting angry, and I'm admit to you, I was getting angry about it. And so then I started trying to understand. I'm like, okay, there's a psychological reasoning for this. Like, what is it? Discover the problem, and then through the problem you can find the solution. And so, doing some relaxing, chilling, it recalled on me Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, if you're new to this, I'm going to read them off. But if you're not new to them, go with it with me. We're going to start from the top to the bottom. And these actually are a pyramid. So the tip of the pyramid is self-actualization. And that is just the desire to be who you want to be, to reach goals. Then we have self-esteem, which is respect. Then it goes with self-esteem. Let me see. Self-esteem, recognition, strength, freedom. Then we have love and belonging, which is friendship, intimacy, which does not mean physical intimacy. That's not a love and belonging need. Family and signs of sense of connection. So love and belonging does not mean physical intimacy. Please understand that. Then safety needs, which just your simple, you want to be safe. Everybody should be in a place to where they don't want criminals coming into their house. They don't want to live in a place where a bunch of crazy people are running wild with guns, things of that nature. And then you have your physiological needs, which is such as air, water, food, shelter, clothing. And then that's where we get into physical intimacy, reproduction. This is what keeps the human race going. Now, the problem with this is most people have been taught you have to settle your base needs first and then you slowly move up. So you have to go through your physiological needs. Like if you're still starving, you're not going to be able to go to your meet your safety needs. But through modern psychology, we are starting to realize that is not a linear process. It's pieced together. You like most people, they air, food, and water is always a high priority. Shelter is always a high priority. But for some people, reproduction is a high priority when it shouldn't be. And excuse me. And this is how I think a lot of men are confused now because their priorities are their needs, their Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not aware. They're not a self-aware of it. Most people are confusing the reproduction with actual loving belonging. This is why I think there's a lot of issues with relationships. But also as men, like we need to start understanding what are the things that mean the most important to us. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be like the ability to earn money. That's part of your self-actualization. You feeling good, you being confident, you knowing that you can tackle anything that's gonna come to you. That's part of your self-esteem, or your esteem or self-esteem. And then love and belonging, a community. Like everybody does want some form of community, and then your safety needs. Safety needs, I feel like should always be the very safety needs as far as physical safety, things of that nature, is always going to be at the very top with air, food, shelter, and clothing and water. I'm sorry. Um, but like some of our physiological needs, we have to actually start suppressing them. They're not in high demand anymore. We live in a different world than what we used to. We're still operating as if we're the barbarians who came after whatever post-apocalyptic thing that happened that reset the world and reset the balance of power, knowledge, and all of those things. And so we're not at that level anymore. So reproduction is not as important. Like even for me, give you a prime example of how this is. Food is not a dire importance for me. I wouldn't be this fat if I needed food. And some people might be like, "Oh, you're beating yourself up." Like, no, that's being honest. The physiological need of eating is not a very high priority for me. So, like for lunch, I had apples and peanut butter, 3 apples and some peanut butter. That is enough to sustain me. My safety needs, I live in a nice, comfortable neighborhood, everything like that. So that is always taken care of based on where I choose to live. Even when it comes to me building, when I start building my own house, like security is going to be built within that. Loving, belonging, I have people that I can talk to. I have friends, I have family. Like I said, I'm dating, like all of those different things. Esteem, that is where you see me if you're part of the the money mindset study group where I come on live on TikTok and Facebook, not Facebook, I'm sorry, TikTok and YouTube, and I'm going to eventually start doing it on Instagram also. That's how I work on my esteem. I'm always constantly learning to do my self actualization of becoming a better version of me, growing into the next best version of me. And this is something that I think as men we need to start really prioritizing. What are your hierarchy of needs? Like, what are the things that are important to you? And not only just talking about this stuff, but actually taking action on it. So, assignment for the guys out there, if you're a guy and you're watching this, just go through. And if you don't remember the hierarchy of needs, as I said, it's self actualization, self esteem or self esteem, same thing, loving, belonging, safety needs, and physiological needs. Go through your phone, just Google Maslow's, MASLOW, hierarchy of needs, and then label each one, and then just take 3 things out of each one that are the most important for you right now. Start understanding your priorities. Start understanding your hierarchy of needs. Like, we've been taught everything is a base as if we're all this, like a cat or a dog, where we have group consciousness. We have single identity consciousness, which means we load up our own conscious inside of us. A cat will always be a cat, no matter what type of cat it is, where it's from, what country it's from. It's going to act like a cat. However, because it has a group conscious, it has a group identity. Once you become a single consciousness or a single identity, the funny thing that happens is you now have multiple, endless amount of identities. This is where the ego has been confused, and this is where we need to start understanding which identity are we functioning from. We all usually share an identity of we don't have to think about breathing fresh air. We all have an identity. We know how to get fresh water, all of those things. But like, is your identity around intimacy? Most people think that word means physical. Intimacy does not mean physical. That's a part of reproduction. That is not intimacy. You can have intimate conversations. You can have intimate outings, and it doesn't mean it has to end with two people in the bed with each other. That is not intimacy at all. Also, what is your identity of how you respect yourself? What are the things you say to yourself? Like, where do you want to be in your life? Like, all of these things make a difference, because all of these little things, they may sound like they're unimportant, but those are going to be the things that match up to what you believe in. And if you really want to know if you're in sync with your belief, then just go through and look at your hierarchy of needs. If your hierarchy of needs are like someone like Jay Rella, which reproduction was very high on there, or that he wouldn't just be going around traveling for, I don't want to say cheap, but cheaper, pay for play. I guess that's a nice way to say it. He wouldn't be in the situation that he was in right now. If he would have came more on the love and belonging hierarchy of needs, of maybe creating a family, friends, really getting to learn the culture of Kenya and Nairobi, he probably would have had a completely different viewpoint on his trip here. He probably wouldn't be doing lives trying to hurry up and get people to give him money so he could leave the country. Like, all of these things matter. And as men, we need to start understanding this. We need to start teaching this to each other, and we need to start practicing this up on ourselves. Like, we need to actually do the action and practices, do these exercises, because we can't keep letting these bad apples make us all look bad. And just to say this before I end, for the people of Kenya, I apologize. I am so sorry y'all have to deal with that type of nonsense. For me, being in Africa going on 3 years now, I can't even imagine how you all are feeling seeing something as stupid as that. So I do apologize. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. If you want to go deeper into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can do that also. Just tell me, what is your biggest takeaway from this? Make sure you like the video, share it if you know a guy who needs to hear something like this, especially if it's a younger guy. Us more seasoned guys, we need to be looking out for these younger guys and grooming them in the right direction, so that we can have newer generation of men coming behind us. We can't have any Umar Johnsons, Umar Johnsons or Jay Rellos. We've had enough of this in our communities, and this is all men across the board. And hope you enjoyed this, and just remember this: I am Jason, and success is simple once you know how.